How do I figure out what's next in my career? How do I align my work with what truly matters to me? And the biggest question of all, can I really design a career that I love? Hey, my name is Jen Smith, and I believe career success doesn't have to come at the expense of living a radiantly happy and healthy lifestyle. As a former HR leader and recruiter turned career coach, I've seen how traditional paths can leave people burned out or boxed in. And I know there's a better way, one that invites you to let go of outdated rules and outside expectations, one that evolves and supports meaningful growth over time. Whether you're feeling stuck, craving more clarity, or ready to expand within your current role and beyond, this show is for you. So grab your coffee or your kombucha, pull up a seat, and get ready to explore practical, modern strategies for building a meaningful, heart-based career. Because you deserve a long, radiantly happy, and healthy career. This is the Flourish Careers Podcast. Hello, and welcome back to the Flourish Careers Podcast. I'm Jen Smith, your host, and today feels extra special because it marks the beginning of a brand new 3-part series with the brilliant career and leadership coach, Michelle Schafer. Michelle is an ICF certified career and leadership coach, author, and facilitator who helps professionals navigate career transitions with confidence and purpose. After experiencing 2 unexpected restructures early in her career, Michelle discovered her true path, which is supporting people to move from job search frustration into work that energizes them. As the founder of Michelle Schafer Coaching, she partners with clients across government, high tech, financial services, and not-for-profit sectors, helping them clarify career direction, craft compelling personal brands, and land roles where their values align. Her award-winning #1 bestseller, Cultivating Career Growth, Navigating Transitions with Purpose, and her recognition as one of Ottawa's top career coaches underscore her impact. And I can attest to that. Michelle and I have recorded 2 previous episodes together, and we've had so much fun. We're on the same page with many elements of career planning and job searching. So I asked her to hop back on the mic for a 3-part series all about LinkedIn, which we believe is one of the most important tools in your career. In fact, I always say that LinkedIn is more important than your resume in today's world of work. When you think about it, it opens doors to opportunities. So recruiters and hiring managers spend a lot of time on LinkedIn searching for talent. When your profile is there and it's well crafted, it allows opportunities to find you. And sometimes that happens even before a job is posted. It also works for you behind the scenes. So one of the beautiful things about LinkedIn is that it's working in the background, literally while you sleep. So your profile is discoverable 24/7, which means new connections and opportunities can emerge even when you're focused on your day-to-day work. It also allows you to showcase your professional story, and it's not limited by space like a resume is. So a LinkedIn allows you to show more than just job titles. You can include recommendations, endorsements. You can click out to articles or even some of your work if you have work that's posted online. It keeps you connected to the broader conversation. So I've seen so many opportunities come through relationships, referrals, and conversations that started on LinkedIn. It also strengthens your professional presence. So when someone hears your name, LinkedIn often becomes the place they go to learn more about you. So a thoughtful profile helps ensure that the story they find reflects your strengths and your impact. And it's also valuable at every stage of your career. So LinkedIn isn't only for people who are actively job searching. It's a space to share ideas, celebrate, stay connected with colleagues, and really continue building your professional reputation over time. So I like to think of LinkedIn as your professional landing page. It's a place where your experience, relationships, and ideas can grow alongside your career. So with that, we will be here with you for the next 3 weeks. Today is all about limiting beliefs, the stories you tell yourself about using LinkedIn. Next week, we're going to walk you through how to optimize your profile, and then we'll wrap up with an episode dedicated to the do's and don'ts of engaging on LinkedIn, including the favorite question, is LinkedIn Premium worth it? So you'll hear from both of us on that question that we get all the time. So with that, let's get to it. Michelle, welcome back to the show.
Oh, thanks, Jen, for having me here.
Yes, I'm so excited to dive into all things LinkedIn. So we know how critical mindset is to career planning because we've dedicated a whole episode to that. So that was one of our previous episodes that we did together. Yeah. We'll be sure to link to that. But mindset and limiting beliefs comes into play with LinkedIn as well. So before anyone can really use it effectively, they have to kind of get out of their own head. And I have this conversation with clients all the time. I'm sure you do too. And so there's some really specific things that come up again and again. So what's one of the things you hear most often when people are getting ready to use LinkedIn?
Oh, one of the big things I hear is, I don't want to post anything because my boss is going to know that I'm on there and is going to think that I'm looking for work. Yeah. And, it's really interesting. LinkedIn is not just for job seekers. It's a way to develop our professional networks. And, one of the things that I'll share with people is it's actually good that you're on LinkedIn, because when you're sharing about your organization or you're sharing about your own profession, it shows the pride and it creates awareness for people. It's not just about looking for a new job.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I often think too, I'll walk some folks through this, like, hey, what if your manager did see you on there? What would happen?
Yeah, exactly. What is the worst? And I think we overthink this one, and we think that, oh my gosh, my boss is on LinkedIn 24/7. They're going to pick up my activity immediately, or they're going to notice that I changed an aspect of my profile. And the reality is, your boss, like most other people in the world, are busy people and they're not scrolling the feed constantly. One of the things that I've come to realize is you can never get to the bottom of LinkedIn, right? Like, or any social media. You can never get to like the last post that's ever been posted. So it's just like, we can think that our bosses are on there. Really, they're not really caring.
Yes, exactly. I totally agree with you. We definitely overthink it, and we just think too much of what other people or if our boss is going to see us on there. The other thing that I just wanted to mention real quick that you had brought up was around branding. And you're right. When you post on LinkedIn or when you use LinkedIn, it does showcase your organization in a great way. And there's a whole department of work out there called recruitment marketing and professional branding for organizations. And that's really important for organizations. So it will help boost your organization the more that you use LinkedIn, if you're using it while you're working in a role at a company that you really like.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
And, I see people doing that more and more. And it's not even just leaders at an organization. It could be, somebody who was, like behind a big event that, that launched at their organization, and they were really proud of it. And, they had some pictures to share and they wanted to talk about it. I'm seeing people do that more and more, where they're feeling more comfortable sharing achievements at their organization, which of course, yes, is a way to share with your network what it is that you're up to, but it's a great way to elevate the achievements at your company and show what your company is up to as well. And that can actually attract people to the organization too. It's not uncommon, of course, that when job seekers are looking for work, like you're doing research on organizations, you're going to troll the feed of the organization that you are interested in. And if you see some posts pop up that are promoting things, that's really good. It reflects very well on the organization too.
Yes, I couldn't agree more. So the bottom line there is your boss probably won't even notice. So don't stress about it.
Yeah, dismiss the thought.
Yes. Okay. So the next one is kind of sneaky because it's about vulnerability. And so this one I hear a lot too is like, I'm afraid of what people might think about what I say. And, LinkedIn feels a little more permanent because it's the professional reputation. And so what are your thoughts there?
Yeah, I mean, that can be a really tricky one, especially for individuals who maybe don't use social media in their personal lives. I have a number of clients who are resistant to getting on LinkedIn or doing anything on LinkedIn because they're not on Facebook, they're not on Instagram. They just, they don't want any part of that. But you're right, like LinkedIn is a professional platform. So, my guidance there is to say, everybody has something to share, something about like maybe it's a perspective or it's a question or, again, just something that you've done that you would like to share. Do think about what you're putting on LinkedIn before you put it on there. I mean, I don't just recommend kind of banging out a post or a comment and not really giving it some thought. Like read it back, maybe even have somebody look at it if you're really, not sure how it's coming across. And because you do want to set a professional tone and your branding, you do want it to come through. And your brand is just really what's important to you. What's your values? You want to make sure that what you comment on and what you post reflects the person that you are professionally and personally, and that it is a good reflection of, your expertise as well. So think it through and, get other people to look at it if you're really not sure.
Yeah, that's really good guidance. I think the visibility of it sometimes just feels intimidating. It's like, oh, there's over 1 billion professionals on LinkedIn. And sometimes that can just feel a little intimidating. Like you're just out there and like, oh my gosh, what are people going to think? And, but you're, it's like you said, as long as you think through it and maybe, have somebody give you a little boost of confidence behind the scenes. And you can even use AI for that. Like, hey, I want to, post this. What are your thoughts or what are the trends on this topic? Or what am I not thinking about for this topic? Like that thought partnership and see what comes up just to make sure you're more confident with what you're going to share.
So. Totally. And I think you make a really good point there. You can use AI as your research partner. You can use it as your thinking partner. What I don't recommend, of course, and I know Jen, you believe in this too, is like using AI to do all the writing for you because then your brand doesn't come through. I mean, I've seen comments that have been written by AI. It's like, did a person write this? No, a person did not write this. It's so obvious. So, make sure that whatever you put out there, whether it's a post, a comment, or you're sharing somebody's post with your own thoughts, make sure that those are your thoughts, that it sounds like you, because if it doesn't sound like you, it's just not authentic and you're not doing yourself a good service by using AI in that way.
I totally agree. There's so much, I use the word sameness. It's like the sameness. It's everywhere, like all the same stuff everywhere. And so that's, that just gets to be like blind, people are just like blindly scrolling through stuff like that. And it's, it's just the worst.
It's called AI slop for a reason.
Yes, right.
Like it's like that.
It is. Yeah. I love the guidance to read it out loud and make sure it sounds like I share that every day, all day. I ask people to read it out loud and make sure it sounds like you before you share something. So even with your resume, any of that kind of stuff, just read it out loud. Yes. It makes a big difference. So
it really does.
Yeah. So now another fear that might be in the back of people's minds is what if I get targeted by the haters? So you put yourself out there, you open yourself up, and there's always this what if, especially going through the world of cancel culture and all that kind of stuff. So what are your thoughts on that one?
Yeah, I mean, that is one that I hear from individuals as well, especially if they're resistant to, being more visible on this platform. I mean, I've been posting on LinkedIn very regularly for the last 6 years. Believe it or not, Jen, I really never posted on LinkedIn until before the pandemic because I didn't think I had anything to say. Like what we're talking about here, these limiting beliefs, I believe some of them too. But then in the pandemic, there was lots to talk about in the job search world, right? Yeah. So I've been posting consistently for 6 years. I have never been targeted by anybody. And right now I'm posting like 4 or 5 times a week and I'm commenting about 10 or 15 times a day.
Wow. Yeah.
So the occurrence of that, I'm going to say, is so super rare. Like out of all of the platforms, like if you look at like Instagram or Facebook or any of those, LinkedIn is probably one of the like obviously more professional places. So the chance of being targeted by a hater, I'm going to say, is like so limited. Now, have people, maybe commented on my post and maybe disagreed with what I've said? Sure, that happens, but that's okay. Like I like to think of LinkedIn as a place where we can have conversations. Like it is about building relationships. It is about building conversations. It's not just about, rubber stamping and saying, "Oh yeah, like great post, agree with that." If somebody has a dissenting view, yeah, I'd like to hear it because then I can comment on it. And if somebody does leave a comment on your post that is inappropriate, you can always report it to LinkedIn. You can always block the person, and you can also delete that person's comment from your post and your feed. So you are in control of some things if somebody does target you. But my experience is that really doesn't happen. I mean, What about you, Jen? Have you ever experienced that?
Yeah. So I had one situation, but it was not a hater by any means. It was somebody I was not connected to. They did not have a photo. So they were kind of behind the scenes, kind of trolling. Yeah. I would say it was more of a troll than a hater. And it was just like a snarky-ish comment. And that was it. And it was not a really that big of a deal or anything like that. And I just ignored it and moved on. But I'm with you. So I don't post as much as you do, but for the last, I don't know, more than 6 years, I've either shared articles, commented, or posted at least once a week on LinkedIn. And out of all of those years, I even did it when I was in corporate. So I don't even know how many years I've been on this platform, a lot of years. And I had one little snarky troll comment and that was it. So it really, I think LinkedIn does a really nice job also of making sure it is a professional space. And if anything does happen, they are there and available to support and help. So it's definitely one of the more civil corners of the internet.
For sure. Yeah, absolutely. Which is reassuring if you're hesitant about doing something on it.
Yeah, exactly. So now another fear, which you just kind of alluded to, was I have nothing to share. And so sometimes people look at all these like super polished, high performing posts on LinkedIn and they get real nervous that they don't have anything to share. So how did you kind of get over that limiting belief?
Yeah, I mean, that's a really great question because, like I said, I was hesitant. I thought, yeah, I mean, I don't really have anything to share. Other people have got more to share than I do. And, then the more I really started to think about it, the more I realized, you know what? I mean, I do have a perspective and I do have tips and strategies to share, especially for people who are looking for work, who are looking to develop their careers and move into new paths. And I looked at some of those very polished posts, and you're right, it can be very intimidating because that was not me. The other thing I really came to realize when I started looking at what people were putting out there is, not everybody is a creator. Not everybody is an influencer. Like there are people that are just, like randomly sharing thoughts. And like, it's interesting. Some of those posts get very high performance because it's just somebody being honest and sharing something really authentic, and people resonate with that and they gravitate to it. So, my guidance is, just start small. Like it doesn't have to be a video that's been professionally produced and you put it on LinkedIn, or it doesn't have to be like this super snappy, like grab you kind of post. Like it doesn't have to be anything super polished. Start small. I even recommend like starting with a comment. Like if you see somebody's post and it's maybe somebody that you respect their thoughts and their work, you're really interested in it, just leave a thoughtful comment that adds to the conversation, that maybe asks a question. You can do that really small. And then when you feel more comfortable, you can post something. And I mean, the posts, like we have content all around us. Like we talk to people and we have situations at work or events that we're part of or projects that we've led. And, any of those experiences, we can write on those. It's not about creating something like super flashy. Sometimes it's just taking something from our own life. I've seen job seekers write about their experience looking for work, or maybe a new strategy that all of a sudden got them more interviews. It could be something as simple as that, and it doesn't need to be, like created or professionally produced in any way.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with that. And it made me think too about, what is your intention about posting on LinkedIn? Like, is your intention to build a professional brand? Is your intention to be a content creator? Is your intention to just contribute to interesting conversations? Is your intention to change industries? Like, think about what your intention is and then what you want to share based on your intention. So I think that that's really, because you don't have to go out there. If you're changing jobs or changing industries or careers or anything like that, don't compare yourself to a content creator, because that's not your intention. That's not what you're doing.
No.
So it changes, like, kind of the way that you show up, I think, and sharing stories like what you're saying and relatable posts. To me, that's much more engaging than any kind of flashy video or anything like that. So Michelle, you do a really good job of this. Actually, you post like you're outside on a walk and you're, like the flower or the run or the ice skating or whatever. And that's relatable in my mind versus any of the fancy stuff.
For sure. Well, and it's just about making connections, you know, when you can make a connection between like an experience and something that you do want to share or something that will help other people. Like my intention behind posting is not to get more clients. So though sometimes that happens, but that's not my intention. Right. It's to help job seekers. It's to share strategies. It's to take something that might seem not as accessible for them and turn it into something that they can connect with. Yes. And I do a lot of storytelling. Like I do, like here, an experience that I had and how this relates to, like building out your resume, for example. Yeah, there's all those connections around us. But I love your suggestion to just, think about what is the purpose behind what I want to do? Is it to, create awareness? Is it to share? Is it to, build some learning opportunities? There's lots of different intentions on LinkedIn.
Yeah. And one word you just mentioned there was the word connection. And that's really what it's all about. It's really, when it comes down to it, that's really what any kind of social or professional platform is about: connection. And so even I'm just thinking too, your post around the door in your house with the different markers of everybody's height. So you posted that. I had that in my house growing up and I saw yours and I was like so excited. And that just like boosted our connection because we had this cool thing in common, right? So that's a great example.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Love it. Okay, last fear here, and then we're going to talk about just kind of helping move beyond the fears. So this is actually one of my fears. I'm just going to be straight. So you work so hard, you get the courage to post something, and then it's like crickets. So there's no likes, there's no comments, there's nothing. And then it just feels like this rejection. And it's just stressful. So what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, this is a big one because, and this is, I think, where we get into like, the comparison syndrome, which is, you see, and we see those posts on LinkedIn that have like 20,000 likes or, any of those things. So you think, how does somebody do that? Like, I mean, I still had a question. How does somebody do that? But I mean, at the end of the day, I've also seen a fair amount of posts around people who say, my post got a lot of traction. It really didn't mean anything. Like, so people like me who are in business for themselves didn't mean that they got any new clients. It just meant that your post went viral for some reason. But that's not a good comparison because the likes in that, it doesn't really matter. They kind of do act like the gold stars though, right? It's kind of like, oh, I put out a post, like somebody liked it, gold star. That means I did a good job. But at the end of the day, it's really about making the connections with other people. So even if you had one like, when somebody reached out to you and said, you know what, like that post really spoke to me today. That is meaningful. Like that comment or somebody saying that is worth more than 20,000 likes. Quite honestly, you've actually reached a person. And that's really meaningful. So I caution people around like using the likes as a measure of anything, because what I've found is that far more people actually pay attention to your post than actually like it. You would be surprised at how many people would notice it. If it is a concern of yours, though, you can do a few things. Like you can, I've seen people repost it like just to get a little bit more legs to it. You can also just try posting at the same time each day if you want. If you were thinking of posting once a week, try posting at the same time to build some consistency. Or I've seen people do this. Reach out to a few people that you're connected with and just say, you know what? I just put this on LinkedIn. Would you just take a look at it and maybe just like show it some love? And that way too, it just, gets, a little bit of traction to it, makes you feel better too. So, but if you post something and nothing happens, especially if you're new to posting on LinkedIn, that just means that LinkedIn hasn't recognized that you are doing stuff on the platform. So you might need to, like over a period of 2 weeks even, put some things out somewhat consistently. You will see that engagement grow for sure.
Yeah, I agree with you. And again, it goes back to your intention too. So, if your intention is to really drive engagement and, get more followers or whatever it is, that's going to matter more than if you are posting because you're looking for a new job and you're sharing with your network. So goes back to that intention. But I totally agree that people are reading whether or not they're hitting the like button or not. The other thing is the algorithm. You can't control it. So sometimes you just got to see what happens.
And it constantly changes.
It always changes. Yes. So for people that do share, it's like, oh, this happened. I remember comments for a while were getting a ton of traction, and then commenting stopped. And now it seems like the algorithm ticking it up again. You just never know what's happening and you can't control it. So I just say, if you have something to say, go ahead and share it. And I totally agree about the one person. For me, it's always the one person. I get anxious too. And then I post it. And then I'm like, if this helps one person, it's worth it. And that's really what it comes down to. And I've had people come back to me weeks later, no likes or anything on the post from them. And then they'll come back to me weeks later and say that something resonated. So it just, you just never know what's going on with somebody in behind the scenes.
Exactly. But the network is wide.
It is.
Posts go to like hundreds and thousands of people. And you can't control what happens behind the scenes. But, if you're aligned with your intention, like if your intention is to, help one person even, then know that you probably have helped one person, even if you haven't heard from that person, even if you don't see the likes, know that your post is reaching people. Exactly. It does. Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, so you've shared a couple of these already, like a couple of insights around kind of moving beyond these limiting beliefs throughout our conversation. But is there anything else that comes up that you share with folks that have some blocks against posting on LinkedIn or even engaging?
Yeah, I mean, I guess the one thing that I do emphasize, especially for individuals who are looking for work, is I will say especially today, if you're not visible on this platform, you are missing out potentially on opportunities. I mean, that goes with there are individuals that I work with that don't want to be on LinkedIn at all. And I say, you are really missing out, just so you know. But the visibility factor really does matter today because, recruiters and hiring managers now, before they have somebody in for an interview, before they agree to meet somebody for like a networking exploratory interview, they're checking people out on LinkedIn. They're checking out your profile. They're checking out what you're doing on the platform. Are you active on the platform? And a quick little story with that. I worked with a client who almost missed out on an opportunity because she hadn't been active on LinkedIn for like 8 years. Like she literally didn't do anything. And she did get the job, but the recruiter totally looked her up. And this was a role where she was going to be the face of the organization. She's changed her LinkedIn habits now. She started working with me to actually change that. But it just highlights that it's so important now to be active in some way. So I say to people, like, if you're really hesitant, first of all, just observe people that you respect on this platform. What are they doing? What are they talking about? How are they engaging with people? Are they posting? Are they commenting? What are they talking about? So just get a sense for, what's happening and where you might be comfortable playing in this space. And then I say, just start super small. Like you don't have to go and create a video and post it on LinkedIn. I mean, that's, that's really putting yourself out there. But start like even with a comment, comment and add a question, add another perspective, maybe even a different opinion, like just to kind of generate conversation. You can do that as a way of just starting in. And, when you do, if you decide to start posting, you could always take it down. Like, I mean, you can always remove a post or remove a comment if you realize, oh, no, that's not exactly what I want to say. You can go and edit it. As soon as it's out there, it's not like, oh my gosh, I can't touch it. Well, no, you can. But just, be kind to yourself, be really kind to yourself. And, a great way too, if you're really stuck, like you want to post and share, but you're not really sure what to talk about. This is where use AI as your thinking partner. Like you can generate some interesting topics, for your profession, things that you might want to share. That might just get you going, but it doesn't need to be all or nothing. You can just take really baby steps and just see how you feel about it and see how things are received. And the one thing that I'll say is, light, consistent touches beat grandiose gestures any day, which means even if you went in, let's say 2 times a week and you left some comments, but you were consistent about it, that is going to increase your visibility. Yeah. What doesn't increase visibility is I'm going to post today and then I'm going to abandon this platform for 3 months. And then I'm going to post and then I'm going to abandon it, because that's where I hear from people. They say, LinkedIn doesn't work because I post and nothing happens. Well, you need to be consistent, but those light touches mean everything.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I usually recommend if someone's new to the platform, like just go in and like stuff like in your wait time, you're waiting in line at the grocery store, just go like a few things. It doesn't have to be, this big thing, because that's going to increase your visibility. And I was a recruiter and we used LinkedIn. We had something called LinkedIn Recruiter and we used it as a search engine. And the more you use, the more you click like or you comment, the more you're going to show up in those searches. And so that's really where it can become really valuable if you are a job seeker. So
absolutely.
Excellent. Well, this was such a great place to start, Michelle. I am really glad that you're here for this whole 3-part series. Yay! So now that we've moved beyond the limiting beliefs in our mindset, we're going to get into how to optimize or how to build a profile. So listeners, stay tuned for part 2 next week. And in the meantime, connect with us on LinkedIn. We're going to put both of our profiles in the show notes. So go ahead and connect with us, and you can use us as your guinea pig. If you're just getting started on the platform, connect with us and let us know what you liked about this episode, and you can use us to start practicing. So thank you so much for tuning in. And as always, the notes will be on the blog at flourish.careers/blog.